hear about Kimberly Dawn Lucas, the woman who poisoned her ex's son and drowned her ex's daughter and then poisoned herself as well in a murder-suicide? She lived, and actually the boy lived. Apparently she wasn't very good at poisoning. She was a little better at drowning, though, because she was able to drown the 2-year-old girl. She was inspired, apparently, by Genesis 22. She had just recently gotten back from a sermon by one Reverend Leah Brown, who talked about, Abraham and Isaac. Abraham was, a devout follower of God, and God said to him, "Hey, Abraham, you know your son Isaac?" And Abraham's like, "Yeah." God's like, "I want you to fucking kill him." And because Abraham was such a pious, righteous, godly, moral fellow, he took his son onto the top of the mountain to sacrifice him to God. But the story has a happy ending because God intervened. He said, "Abraham, the fact that you were willing to kill your son for me, that shows me that you love me and you really are loyal to me, so you don't have to actually do it." Unfortunately, God did not intervene in the case of Kimberly Dawn Lucas, as she points out in her suicide note. In your own words, when you are laying...
Yes, the amazing atheist's newest video, Christianity Kills. Do you like my play acting? Seriously, I think Christians should be up in arms about this. I'm sure this woman is in jail, don't you think? Because she actually did drown her little girl. Don't you think she might just be in jail for that? Oh my gosh, for obeying God, for listening to God and doing what he says. She should be like given sainthood. Except I don't think women get that, do they? She obeyed God. She made the ultimate sacrifice that God asked Abraham to do to Isaac and asked Jephthah to do to his daughter. Only with Jephthah, he actually had to burn his daughter on an altar to death because I guess God just felt like enjoying that sweet savor of burning flesh that day, whereas with Abraham, he intervened and he handed Abraham a poor little goat. I think it was a ram, yes. But apparently with Jephthah, that was a day when God was having major GMS. I'm thinking PMS, only God version of that. He was having a major bad hair day, and he had in mind that he wanted to smell the delightful scent of roasting child that day. So anyway, so yes, God does order in the Bible people to kill their children. Or he takes a vow so seriously that he allows a loving father to kill his only child by fire. So why are we not letting this woman, why are we not honoring this woman? We should start a new modern Bible, and she should be like one of the earliest stories in it. That devoted Christian who God tested, and she passed the test by following through on the ultimate sacrifice of killing her child. Don't you think? I mean, oh my gosh, this woman should be uplifted and praised by Christians worldwide as, oh my gosh, look what she did for God. She's straight out of the Bible righteous. She should not be in jail, and I think Christians should be protesting. If she's in jail, they should be surrounding that jailhouse with signs and pickets and screaming at the top of their lungs over the injustice of this woman, this devout Christian, God-fearing woman, being behind bars of all places for the amazing thing that she has done. She has done her Lord's work on the earth. She's as good as it gets. She is, she should be elevated to sainthood. But I wonder how many Christians are actually having that reaction. I wonder how many Christians are actually thinking, oh my gosh, how could any mother actually kill their children like that? How many Christians are absolutely appalled and horrified that this woman would do such a thing to their child? In the name of God. God told her to. Well, you know, if God was involved in this scenario, if there's a God at all, why didn't he stop her? Why didn't he send fleets of angels to rescue the little girl that she was drowning? Why didn't he make the drink, the poison? You know, the poison apparently didn't kill, but still at the same time. Why didn't he stop her? Why didn't he stop her? I would think that the fact that he didn't stop her, if he really exists, means that it was supposed to happen. It's all part of God's divine plan. Actually, it is all a part of God's divine plan. If Christianity is to be believed, everything that happens on this earth, good and bad, is part of God's divine plan. It's meant to be. Good things will come of it. Or maybe not. But whatever, it's part of God's plan. Just like making Satan was part of God's plan, and making atheists, making people who cannot believe and then deliberately withholding from them the one thing that would maybe make them believe is part of his plan. Everything. This is part of his plan too. I suppose this woman being in jail for obeying her Lord and showing her, passing the test and showing her devotion, the fact that she's being punished for it now and that she's in jail, part of his plan too. It's true. Now she's like a martyr, isn't she? She's in jail. She's being poor devout Christian who would follow God's word so devoutly. I said devout already. So completely is being punished for it. Oh my, this again is straight out of the Bible, isn't it? Oh, my heart is just wrung dry with grief for the sorrow of these poor persecuted Christians. I don't know if that made sense, that last line, but it was very poetic, wasn't it? Yes, lots of big words. Lots of big words, just kind of full of feeling. I should quit my day job. I should become a soap opera writer. Anyway, I just had to make a few comments. I think God, yes, Christianity kills. This is just one more example of it. And people who, well, you know, they try to gloss over Abraham's story. They try to gloss it over and make it sound like it's a good, wholesome story. And what Abraham did was so righteous, willing to kill his child for God. They love to gloss that over and go, oh, Father Abraham, such a good guy. What about Jephthah? You know, we don't ever really hear that much about Jephthah's daughter. We don't. And I guess children's books will say, well, you know, he sent her off to live in a coven for the, or coven, isn't that witches? Convent. Place where nuns live for the rest of her life, except that's not what it says in the Bible, and all you have to do is read it in the Bible and you will see that Jephthah did to her as he had vowed, which was, what was that again? Oh, that he would burn on an altar the first thing that came to greet him from the house. Jephthah did what he had vowed to his little daughter. So yes, what a great story. Why don't Christians, you know, put that puppy up there and as a shining example of how loving God is. God is so loving. But you know, he also loves the smell of burning flesh. We have to keep that in mind always. That must have just been a burning day for God. Yeah, a burning day. He need, you know, it was just more important for him, I think, for Jephthah to keep his vow than to save the life of a little girl. Or even if she wasn't little, even if she was a teenager, doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter. Burning a human being to death is about the most repulsive, despicable things. God just sat on his thumbs. Do you think she screamed? Do you think she writhed in agony as the flames slowly crisped her body? Yeah? And God did what exactly? I'm sorry, Christians, I'm sorry, I was blind. I was blind for over 35 years of my life. Oh, I just ignored all those stories. That's the Old Testament. Christianity's really not real. We don't really, that's old stuff. That's not really true. That doesn't apply. Oh, but the whole religion is founded on it. Anyway, I just want to make a few snide comments. That's it. Snide comments to this, because it just, ugh. Oh, and the woman writes this. This is the mentality. This is the kind of mentality that makes a fundy Christian. In your words, when you are laying in bed at night, remember you did this to yourself. Leah's sermon really, really touched me yesterday, but God never told me to stop. So, enjoyed Jen, Parker, Lisa, and Marie. Hypocrite Susan, Helen. Hell is what we threw on earth. Enjoyed your life with possible go out without us. He you manage, but give you finally what you want. Because apparently over the past 20 years I was not able to. Love you always, Kimberly. I'm amazed that she can even write words, much less try to form sentences. Anyway, if you've been watching, thanks. Bye!